It is Tiger Time as Mark Shepard is a new addition to the morning show now. He's been on not how many days in a row, but
How many
every
weeks
other
in a
day.
row?
Yeah, every week. Yeah, we've had you on.
Put me on the payroll.
Well, we'll start with the nonprofit part of it and then work from there.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do the weather. Clear to partly, mostly sunny.
Very good. Very good. Then I don't have to do it. I like that. Fremont Public Schools, you have quite a bit going on. And just
do.
recently, District 15 Senator Lynne Walz introduced some legislative ideas for this upcoming session. And I know that was one of the things you wanted to talk about this morning.
Absolutely. We've got a really good show again this morning. We've got Senator Lynne Walz, District 15, who represents Dodge County in our community and our school district, as well as the other school districts in the county. And then we're going to have Katie Hayes and some of our one-act play students come over and talk a little bit about what they're doing right now. They're going to make an entrance just a little bit late, but it is the drama department.
That's right. It's got to be dramatic.
Yeah, it'll be great. And then Kevin Earleywine will finish up, our executive director of our Fremont Public School Foundation, who underwrites this program. But let's get started with Senator Lynne Walz.
Yeah,
it's good to see the senator this morning.
Thank you. It's good to see you. It's kind of funny because yesterday I was just thinking about Mark and sat down on the couch when I got home and the phone rings and it's Mark. I'm like, I was just thinking about you. So good timing.
Yeah, that is. That's perfect.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit going on right now in the area of school finance. And, I go back to the first year I came to Nebraska, in 94, 95, when I came to Fremont as the executive director of business and finance for the school district. And so we started out back in 94, 95. We had almost every school district qualified for what's called equalization aid or school aid.
Okay. And
now, over time, as the formula has continued to develop and as the tax base has continued to expand, we've just kind of watched districts fall off of that state aid formula. And the state aid formula is based on needs minus resources equals state aid. The needs are the students, the cost to educate them. The resources are the ability to generate revenue locally, which is mainly property taxes. And then what's left is state aid. And so as the assessed valuations increase, especially from about 2008 to 2011, 2012 in the ag community, we saw a number of school districts that maybe had declining enrollments or their enrollment stayed the same. And so they fell out of favor with the state aid formula. When we look at school aid in general, Nebraska is behind a lot of other states. We're currently 49th out of 50 in school funding coming from the state level. And so a concept kind of started to emerge late last spring, early summer. It's been massaged. It's been kind of gone through the circles. A lot of people have looked at it, put their eyes on it, added some things to it, made some adjustments. And Senator Lynne Walz is going to carry something, or at least a concept, to the legislature this year that will formulate into a bill. We do need to give Columbus Public Schools credit. We don't always want to give Columbus Public Schools credit, but they've done a great job of putting this proposal together initially and communicating it well. I know that Troy Leffelholtz, the superintendent over in Columbus, is listening this morning as well. So with that, I'll kind of turn it over to Senator Walz, because it's not just a school finance bill.
Right.
It's also a property tax relief bill and an economic development bill.
Yeah. Last, I think it was about 4 months ago when Troy and Chip from Columbus came to my office and said, you know what, we have an idea for school funding. They know that there's a heavy reliance on property tax to fund our schools. And like Mark said, right now we are 49th in the state of funding our schools, so through state dollars. So this proposal really concentrates on two major funding components. The first is ESBA, which is Education Stabilization Base Aid, and it is based on a half-cent sales tax, not increased, but a current sales tax that would be matched by the state to provide dollars to go to schools. It equates to about $1,100 a student. The second component is allocated income tax. And initially, Mark, you know that in 1992, when TIOSA was created, it originally was you were supposed to see 20% of your income taxes come back to your school district. Today, it's about 2.23. So that second major component is taking the allocated income tax, the taxes that you pay to the state, coming back to your school district to educate your kids at 20%. So those are the two major components.
So right now it just comes back at, you said 2.9%?
2.23.
2.23, so. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's an important piece too, because the last thing you do when you fill out your state income taxes is you put in your school district number. And when you put that number in there, that's how those allocated income taxes come back to the school district. Now in Fremont's case, where we're an equalized school district, so when we look through that formula, needs minus resources equals state aid, that's one of our local resources. So it really doesn't benefit us the way it would benefit a school district that doesn't qualify for equalization aid. But as the senator has pointed out, it's gone from 20% down to just over 2%. And the intent was to have 20% of that funded for local school districts. I think the other piece that's really important, we have two major trust funds in the state. We have the Environmental Trust Fund, which is funded with lottery funds, and it's kind of a can't touch that type fund.
Yeah.
And then we have the Highway Trust Fund. And again, with your gas taxes, as you fill up your car with gas, that fund is funded with those gas taxes, and it's allowed for highway development and also bridge development. Senator Deb Fisher, who's now in Congress, was really instrumental in getting that bill passed, and we applaud that. I think we've been envious of that over the years because as schools, we've said, okay, what about the schools? Why couldn't we have an education trust fund? And that's exactly what this bill will create.
Yep, that's a really important piece, and I was going to mention that, especially because the Education Trust Fund, in good years, we're going to be able to reserve funds, so we will be able to utilize those funds in lean years.
You won't just use it up every year then, is what you're saying.
No, so there will be funds will be put away in a reserve to use in lean years, which, again, then you're not having to go back and rely heavily on property tax.
And I think the other key to this formula is that it's going to create quite a shift, and it'll shift it away from property taxes back to the state. Decisions as to how the budget is developed, decisions about how the money is spent are still local control. They're still based on the local school district making those decisions. But it's going to give us an additional resource that right now we don't have.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It does obligate a portion of the state's budget. But when you really think about it, what better cause is there when we think about all the various social services, we think about prisons, we think about all the things that are at the state competing for those dollars to put in an education trust fund makes perfect sense.
So the amount, or an approximate amount that would be saved on the property tax side would be about how much?
I believe it's just over $700 million.
Yeah.
Only $700 million?
$700 million.
$700
Right.
million, yes.
And I just want to say, first and foremost, this is an education trust fund. That's really important. Everybody cares about education. I don't care who you are, a grandparent, a parent, a student, a teacher, a business owner. Everybody cares about education. It's a priority. So, number one, this is securing funding for education today as well as in the future. And it's an economic development tool.
Good deal, yeah. That's I don't have any more questions, so.
Well, you did pretty good, Chris.
I did.
Chris, you did okay.
We didn't even get into an argument or anything.
No, yeah. I imagine you guys talk a lot about school finance and property taxes at home. So,
No, not really.
no. Well, why don't we move to our
Yeah,
next
let's
guest?
move
We do
over.
appreciate Senator Lynne Walz taking a little bit of time
Yeah.
to meet with
Thank
us.
you. Thanks.
Definitely, yeah. Let's bring in Katie Hayes, Fremont High School drama teacher and director of theater. As Mark said, you wanted to make a dramatic entrance.
Clearly, yeah.
So what's going on? One act, is that right?
Yeah, and that's, we've been kind of crazy this morning trying to get caught up because we were actually all out of school all day yesterday at the Midland One Act competition, the One Act Clash over at Midland University all day yesterday. So
Okay.
it's really cool for us to be able to go to all these competitions, but especially cool for us to be able to go to a competition in Fremont where parents can come see the kids perform to support the local university. And then personally, my dad is the director of theater at Midland, and so it's fun for me to get to bring my kids over there and support his program as well.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
sure. So who'd you bring with you today?
So today I have two of our actors, our young actors from the One Act, Rachel Grenier and Olivia Schumacher. They're both sophomores. They both have roles in the show. It's a really great show, all about kind of the consequences of what happens when you tell a lie. There's a young girl who tells a lie about her two school teachers, and it actually ends up ending pretty tragically. And so, kind of what happens when, to get what you want, you kind of tell a lie, and then what happens after that. So,
Yeah, it can. Things can escalate pretty quickly. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Rachel, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in One Act. Was it something you ever thought you'd be doing?
Honestly, when I got into high school, I thought I was going to stick to choir and not do theater, but then I started, and it ended up being a whole lot of fun, and I really enjoy what I do in theater. I love acting, and I also enjoy the behind the scenes stuff, like costuming and hair and makeup. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good experience, that's for sure. When I was a junior in high school, broke my collarbone at the beginning of the football season, my mom said, why don't you try something different? Why don't you go out for theater and try the play? And I'm like, what? No way. Well, I did, and ended up doing, we did Our Town, and had a blast doing it. And so ended up doing the same thing my senior year, even though I did get to play football. So it's a great experience, that's for sure. And I feel like it makes you think a little bit differently, wouldn't you? Would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%. We kind of get really down to earth and really emotional with how we get into the acting side, and it's a lot of fun to unlock that part of yourself, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you don't have to just get dramatic at home with mom and dad, right?
These guys wouldn't do that.
No, never, ever. Olivia Schumacher, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Hi.
You have the cat ears on today. Is there a reason for that?
No, not really a reason. It just kind of felt like a cat ear day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. You can do that. At least you have the hair to go with it. With me, yeah, it wouldn't look that great. So talk a little bit about your One Act play experiences.
Well, ever since 5th grade, when we had drama club for 1 year, I've always loved acting and just being involved in theater. And even if I just have a small role, in 5th grade, I was French lady number 2.
There we go.
And I had so much fun. So as soon as I got to high school, I was like, I got to do this again.
Yeah.
So last year I did it, and I was like, this is so fun. I'm going to do this forever and ever and ever.
Good deal. So in the One Act play that you guys are currently performing, what parts do you each play?
I play Evelyn, who is basically Mary, the girl who tells the lie. I am her minion, kind of we're the mean girls of the school, basically.
Oh.
And so, I just kind of follow her around and be
You're the mean person on her shoulder, and I suppose you're the nice one then on the other shoulder, no?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how?
Yeah. I play a girl named Rosalie, and she's kind of the only girl in school who will stand up to Mary and Evelyn and people like that. And eventually, by the end, she's not as stand up, and no spoilers, but you'll see what happens. But she's pretty a stand up gal, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Hayes, can we see this? Do we have a chance?
Yeah.
The public get a chance to see this?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. We have our home One Act performance next Tuesday, November 30th at 7:30 p.m. It's only a 30-minute show, so if you're one of those people who's I got to get home and I watch The Bachelorette on Tuesday, so if you're like me, you'll still make it home to watch part of The Bachelorette. But yeah, it's a really exciting time because that Saturday, December 4th, is actually our district performance. And so where we go to all these competitions, it's nice if you bring home awards, but mostly it's for the feedback on how to get better because district is the big competition. Last year, we were fortunate enough with our show to get first place and go to state for the first time in 16 years. So we have to get either first place or second place to get to move on to state. So the home One Act performance is kind of that opportunity for us to get one more real show in, to put it in front of an audience and get it ready to go for districts on Saturday, which if anyone wants to come, Saturday, December 4th, we perform at 10:30
Okay.
at Elkhorn South High School. So we really lucked out. We love traveling to all the schools, but it's a lot harder for our supporters to come to North Platte, where we were 2 years ago.
Oh, boy.
And hopefully Elkhorn South will be a little easier. People can come support us. And 10:30, so you don't have to wake up too early.
There you go. All right. Well, very good. Very good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of good information there. And, yeah, we'll look forward to the one-act play for sure. Thank you,
very
ladies.
much.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. Rachel and Olivia with us this morning. Kevin Earleywine, were you ever in the plays at school?
You know, I was actually in elementary. I was in Midsummer Night's Dream. One of our teachers was pretty ambitious and had her reading class do that. And I can't remember the part I played. I had no lines. I just had to stand there, and my pants were my dad's pants, and they kept falling down.
Oh, no.
So I just had to stand with my hands
on your-
holding my. That was my contribution to the entire production.
Very good.
Kevin does a good job of acting every day, though.
Oh, does he?
I do. I act like I work. I act like I answer the phone. Thanks, Mark.
Kevin is the executive director of the Fremont Public Schools Foundation, and he does stay plenty busy. Anything that in particular that's going on right now?
Well, we just had our last board meeting of the year with the foundation, and we've got some new members that we're taking on to the school board to be approved in December. And we'll start the brand new year, obviously, with our January meeting. That's also when we'll do a big kickoff. We're just about to start that process through December and January for our sustaining drive, our sustaining campaign. So we'll get some things out about that. We'll have a newsletter coming out and some mailings and making some contacts with people throughout the community. We're also in our second session now of staff recognitions. The board, our foundation board, thought it was very important that we find a way to recognize different groups of staff for Fremont Public Schools. And we started with transportation.
Yeah.
We did that transportation group. It's been a few weeks ago. Last week, unfortunately, I was ill. We were going to be recognizing another group last week, and so what we'll do is combine that group with another group this week, because we're back to back. We have going right through the 17th of May. We'll be recognizing different groups every single time we're on the radio, and it's a neat opportunity for us to say thank you for what these groups do for the community and for our school district, the part that they play individually and collectively. And we of course, the big piece is being on the radio. That's a big piece for us. And then we also end up with taking some treats out to the different groups too. So they get a little double celebration from us.
Okay, so who are we celebrating this week?
Well, today we're
two different groups.
Two different groups.
Okay.
Birth to 3 and the Sixpence program at Davenport. So it's that age group. We'd like to thank, as our first set of professionals that many of our Fremont families work with, and the Fremont Public Schools Early Intervention Team. These staff members assist families with children who have special needs, from newborns to age 3, in their homes or daycare, on early language skills, social, emotional, and general development through Sixpence and the 0 to 3 program. We'd also like to take an opportunity today to give a sincere thank you to our district maintenance and custodial departments. These groups of dedicated, hardworking, caring men and women work behind the scenes to perform tasks associated with various aspects of maintaining, cleaning, and sanitizing 14 buildings and grounds. These individuals arrive early, stay late, work through special events, seasonal activities, and inclement weather to ensure that staff, students, have a safe and maintained environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. Fremont Public Schools is fortunate to have staff members like this who understand the importance of what they do and the impact they have on students, teachers, and staff in our community, within their buildings and across our districts. We want to recognize these heroes for Fremont Public Schools and give them a big shout out.
Yeah, definitely. They work hard, and it's good to point out all the things that happen. There's so many people involved. It is going to take you all the way to May.
It absolutely will. I do want to give a shout out to these two kids right here, the two girls here that we're speaking on behalf of the Fine Arts Department. Because I'm a little bit envious. We got some red Chucks here that are awesome on Rachel. And the Crocs, the pink Crocs,
Nice.
I don't know if I would wear those, but I would wear the red Chucks, I guarantee you.
Very nice. Kevin Earleywine, thank you. As we kind of wrap things up, Mark Shepard.
Absolutely. Great show. And we just appreciate the opportunity to share with the community. And we appreciate our Fremont Public School Foundation who underwrites the program.
Definitely. All right. Good luck with the one-act play, ladies. Thank you.